Hey singers, today I want to share my story of how I got signed to a manager down in Nashville, Tennessee, who helped me essentially get started with a career as an artist in today's music industry. Before I even got in contact with this manager, I already did a couple things throughout my career, if you want to call it that. When I was in high school, I auditioned for The Voice of Switzerland. I'm originally from Switzerland. I went to high school in Switzerland and only moved to the US after high school for college, essentially. And so I auditioned for The Voice and I made it through the first 3 rounds, but then right before the blind auditions, I actually got kicked out. So I never made it on TV. So I was like, okay, cool, I made it a couple rounds, but nothing came of it. Then when it came to auditioning for colleges, because you know, if you want to study music, you have to audition for these colleges. I actually only applied to one college in Switzerland because we only had one that did contemporary music. Everything else was classical or jazz, and I didn't want to do that. And so I auditioned for that college and I made it to the very last round. And then when it came to picking the one student for the year, because they only accept one singer per year, which is crazy, but that's a whole other story. When it came to the last round, the people that made the decision told me that I have a great voice, but that I'm just like not quite ready yet, and that I should come back in 2 years. And I was like, great. I made it a couple rounds, but then again, nothing came of it. So eventually, I moved to the United States for college. I got accepted at the New York Film Academy to study musical theater. And I was like, yeah, this is great. Okay, we're getting places now. And, in that school, we had musicals that we put on. I was there for 2 years. My program was just 2 years long. And in those 2 years, we had 2 musicals. And it was just me and one other student who never got cast in either of those musical theater productions. Everyone else did get cast in those shows, and I was like, oh my god, are you kidding me? Again, I made it into the school, but I wasn't good enough to actually be part of the musicals that they put on. Okay. I then also realized that musical theater wasn't really my passion, that I'm a pop girl through and through, and so I wanted to do contemporary music. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna apply for the Berklee College of Music and see what happens. And I did get accepted, but my acceptance came with a condition. I had to do the summer semester first, and only if I had great grades at the end of that summer semester, I was allowed to continue and do a bachelor's degree at the Berklee College of Music. And I was like, okay, like apparently I'm good, but not good enough to make it. I am good enough to make it into the door, but not good enough to make it anywhere beyond that. So I was really frustrated and started to really doubt myself. I was like, well, apparently I don't have what it takes to make it in the music industry. So now, going to the manager's story. At that point, I have been at Berklee for 9 months. I was just starting my 3rd semester there, because remember, I did the summer semester and then the fall. And so in the winter of the spring semester, when I started it, I got in contact with this manager. And he was like, okay, cool, audition for me. We'll see how it goes. I'll make a decision after. So what I did is I videotaped myself singing You Lost Me by Christina Aguilera together with a friend who was accompanying me on piano. Thank you, Michael. And I sent that tape in. I started getting really, really nervous because I didn't hear back for days. And before then, this manager, he was really communicative. And I started losing hope and faith. Essentially, it was like, all right, it's been a week. I'm pretty sure this means no. And so out of desperation, because again, at this point, I was like, I got my foot in the door, but again, not good enough to make it beyond that. I was so frustrated. I decided to just send him another video of me singing a completely different song, of me singing The Story by Brandi Carlile. I did not have a lot of hopes because this was a completely different song from what I would usually do. Usually I would belt my face off and sing super high as well, and this Brandi Carlile song is very low, also does a lot of belting, but it's way lower in my range. And I was like, I have nothing to lose. I'm just going to send this to him and see what happens. And I kid you not, within just a couple of hours, he called me and was like, Lara, why did you even send me this Christina song? It does nothing for you. Why didn't you send me The Story by Brandi Carlile to begin with? When can you come down to Nashville and sign the contract? And I was like, wait, what? This was the first time where I felt like, oh my God, I am worthy and I am good enough to have a career in music. So I flew down to Nashville and I signed the contract with him. And I asked him what changed his mind. What about the Brandi Carlile song made him want to sign me? And he said, this Brandi Carlile song showed a completely different part of my voice. While he could see in the Christina song that I am a good and strong singer and, you know, that I can sing pretty much any song that I need to, just something was missing. I would have been great for a cover band, like, you know, wedding bands or corporate events kind of bands. He said, like, I could totally see you do that with this Christina song. But I just didn't feel like there was enough there to be an artist, to be a solo musician, a solo singer, a solo artist in today's music industry. And he said, when I heard you sing The Story by Brandi Carlile, it was completely different. I heard a part of your voice where I was like, now that's character. That is what we call the it factor. And it was the low part of my voice. And I have to say, I was so shocked because I never sang low. All I ever wanted to do was belt my face off and sing high because that's what I thought you need to do to have a career in music, right? Because that's what you hear on the radio. That's what Beyonce does. That's what Christina does. That's what Ariana Grande does. That's what Demi Lovato does. That's what all these super successful singers do. So I apparently have to do the same thing to have a career in music. And he's like, no, not necessarily. Yes, you need to be a good singer, but you're more than good enough to do this. It's more about the character and the authenticity and the ability to perform well and connect with your audience. That's what it's about. And that's what came through in the Brandi Carlile song and did not come through in the Christina song. And honestly, I got really lucky. I had no idea that that was the case with my voice, that my sweet spot, my prima voce, my thing, my it factor, my radio effect, the thing that made me stand out from everybody else was the low part of my voice. And so I got lucky that I sent him that song. While I was then working with my manager, you know, like he put together a team for me to help me write amazing songs and a great producer to really make sure the production on those songs is super good. Like I was able to take the time and explore this newfound part of my voice and really make the most out of this and make the strong part of my voice, my lower register, even stronger. So it took me a year before I actually recorded all of these songs that we wrote because we really wanted to make sure that my voice came through on all of these songs. And so when I released my songs, I was really hopeful and excited, but also super nervous, and was just so excited that I was seeing success with my songs. I heard my songs on the radio. I got asked to do interviews for magazines and blog posts. I, played lots of paid shows as a solo artist. And honestly, the highlight of my career was that I was able to win the John Lennon Songwriting Contest in the category pop, which is the most competitive category in this contest. I won with my song White Lies, and I was like, oh my God, this is it. This is the start of my career. And I was just so excited about it because I finally felt like I found myself and I found my voice, and it was okay to share my voice with the world the way it naturally is and not push it to be a soprano when I'm very clearly an alto. And so making that switch helped me get signed to a manager and also then see the success that I was seeing when I then finally put myself out there as an artist. After a couple of years of pursuing my own career, I realized that my passion for coaching and helping others to do what I did became much bigger than pursuing a career myself. I just loved seeing the breakthroughs that my students had and help them feel confident enough to put themselves out there, to post clips on social media, to perform for others. That filled me with so much more joy than any success that I had with my own music. And so I decided to make it my mission to help singers who want to start a career in music to basically cut straight to the chase and not worry about being able to sing any song under the sun, but rather figuring out, okay, what is your prima voce? What is your radio effect? What is your it factor? And help you make that stronger so that you are recognizable, so that you can feel confident in your own voice the way it is naturally rather than pushing it to be something it's not. That doesn't mean that in the lessons that I teach and that my team teaches at my studio, Voxtape Studios, that we don't focus on any technique at all. No. Vocal technique is very important, but we focus on creating an artist out of you first before we help you expand your range and riff faster and belt higher and do all those things. So if you feel like you are a pretty decent singer, you just don't know who you are as an artist, you don't know your prima voce, you don't know your radio effect, you don't know what your it factor is, then I would absolutely love to do a trial lesson with you to just get a feel for your voice and figure out together with you, okay, how can we take your beautiful voice and create an artist out of you to give you a chance to get signed to a manager, to get signed to a label, to put your original music out there and get the recognition that you deserve. If you want to do a trial lesson with me, if you want to give it a try and see if our method is a good fit for you, just click the link in the description below, and I just can't wait to sing with you. I'll see you in our trial lesson very soon, and in the meantime, take care and I'll see you in the next video.